leadership for a new age. We're going to go through looking a little bit at the old structures that we see in society, and we're going to be looking at some of the new ways, or actually old ways, of looking at things. We come back to the natural way of working with the earth and working with each other so that we actually create a sustainable world. So the first picture we're looking at is a beautiful artwork that's created so that we understand that we all have a part to play, and we all weave the life and the sustainable future that we will share with our next generations. We all have a responsibility to do our best and to weave a beautiful tapestry, to weave something that's going to be sustainable, that's going to make life grow and make sure that we have a beautiful planet. We have to work together. We have to find a way to work harmoniously with each other, because we are so many people, and because it's so big. It's such a big system, and we see the old structures now failing us. We have to look a little bit closer at how nature works so that we understand how to manage in a sustainable way. And we have to look at nature as our teacher. And that's something that we forgot with the old structures that look a little bit like this, where it's been a hierarchy system where we think that we, the human beings, are at the top, and we are the most important beings in existence. And this has kind of been the drive of getting as much as possible, attaining as much wealth as possible, attaining as much power as possible at the top, centralized power, if you will. And this is a insane structure. It's a complete insanity. It's not sustainable. And the fact that we still have these structures on Earth, in our societies, is really insane if you think about it. Why do we still have this shit? It's a shit structure that doesn't work. It benefits a small group of people, and everyone else has to fight for resources, and it's pinned everyone against each other so that a small group can stay in power. And this is not natural. This is not the way nature does things. It's a unsustainable system based on ego and based on fear, and it's now failing us. We see all around the world that the governments are failing us, and we all know this. We all know that we've lost respect for centralized power. We lost respect for governmental systems and the insanely huge corporate systems, which is focused on short-term gain, short-term plans that benefit a small group of people. So this is dying, and we all know it's dying. So the sooner we let go of this structure and start to look at nature and start to work with nature, the better off we are. And of course, it is possible to restructure the systems that we have, because there's a lot of good systems. There's a lot of good systems in place in humanity that make sure that people have resources. But we have to restructure the system in a way so that we don't create the insane poverty and dividing the people in the way that has been done, and so that the resources are more equally distributed. And that is a structure that's going to look a little bit more like this. It's a circle, and everyone, all human beings, all life on this planet is on the outer rim of this circle. And we know that we are all equal. No one is above, no one is below. We're all holding each other's hands, doing our best to fulfill the purpose of the whole organism. And what we see then is that the center is not a person. The center is not a centralized power. The center is the whole community. And we're going to be looking a little bit more at this when we look at nature. And we have to learn from some of the most efficient systems in nature. If you look at a beehive or an anthill or many other structures, and also the bigger systems, we see that there is a queen bee that gives life, and she is the giver to the community. She doesn't take more than she gives more than she takes. And she gives life to the whole community. She gives everything. In return, the bees sustain her so that she can live a safe life, and they make sure that the whole community works. They work for the whole community, and they gather more food, 2 to 3 times more food than what they consume. So they think multiple generations ahead of their own life. And because they all work for the entirety, not for themselves, the system works really efficiently. We're going to sum that up, and that all life comes from the queen bee, and the queen bee is the giver. It all works automatically without centralized power, without centralized leadership. The queen bee gives, and all of the bees have within them the innate responsibility, the innate intuition that they know what they're here to do. They are connected with their own authority, their inner authority, their heart, and they are communicating with the queen bee and with the mother of us all. And it's all unified and self-organized. They all have the health of the whole organism is in mind for each and every bee, each and every individual. And they gather 2 to 3 times more sustenance, more food than what they need. So they think ahead. They think for the next generations, for the winters to come. And this is the mindset that we all need to share. We have to think long term beyond our own lives. And we have to be very mindful and take responsibility for all our actions. And the question then is, who is our queen bee, the humanity's queen bee? And it is the earth, of course. Mother Earth is our queen bee. She is the master, the giver. That doesn't mean she has centralized power and telling us all what to do. She gives love. She gives sustenance. She gives from the bosom of her heart. And we now have to recognize ourselves as one with her, as bees, if you will. And that we are part of this life. We are part of this structure. We are part of this web of life, this circle of life. And that we have to take responsibility for our actions, take responsibility for our contributions, and think long term beyond our own life, beyond our own ego, beyond our own riches. That does not matter in the long term. When we die, we don't get to keep any of the stuff that we accumulated. We don't get to keep our money. It goes to the next generation. What we left behind, what we created here, that's what left behind. And I truly believe that our existence does not end with our death. There is life beyond that. And we have to think further than our own life if we are to actually create something good. I think we need a wake-up call to see that. We have a responsibility. And the more we connect to nature, the more we work with nature, the more we understand that this flourishing, beautiful planet is giving us nourishment everywhere. And we have to work with the land and give back. We have to give back. We're all a family. Doesn't matter what color we are, doesn't matter what religion, whatever we believe, the truth is the truth. The earth is the earth, and we are what we are. And the ones we open our eyes to see nature and to work with nature, we see much simpler how we actually work together. How is it, what's actually important, what has value. And the earth has value. You have value. What you give has value. What you create, can you create more than you consume? And food has value. Everything that sustains life has value. Anything that does not, well, that's another story. And any corporation, any government, any system that is on this earth has a responsibility. And when we stay connected to the earth, centered in our heart-based co-creation, this understanding, this knowing that we are part of this organism and we have a responsibility. We have a healthy organism. We have a healthy organization. There's a healthy system. And that means everyone is serving all, not just a select few, not just themselves, but is serving all to the best of our ability, to the best of what we're capable of. And the better we take care of our own health, the more energy and more surplus we have to give to all. This is where the magic happens. So good vision is a holistically healthy organism, a holistically healthy society, if you will, or societies, where optimal health in harmony with nature is sustained. And that we think long-term, if possible, to think towards the next 7 generations. What are we going to leave for the next 7 generations? And this can work unified and self-organized. When we listen to our hearts and we listen to nature, it's self-organized. And then we come together and create something beautiful. We can co-create something that's absolutely wonderful. Millions of times better than what we've done up until this point with the human systems that we thought of. Of course, the life is much more intelligent than what we've done up until this point. So, a holistically healthy society, the most important resource is human health, or actually all life. If we have our health, we have energy, workforce, creativity, care, and love. And a good foundation for a healthy society or a healthy system is available resources, goods. That means available for all, and pure, natural, life-sustaining, nourishing resources. Organic food, organic resources that are sustainable. And make sure that we continue to do that forever. We can continue to do that forever because we give back to the land what is natural. And that flourishes, so that we understand this connection. And we can look at this with permaculture and regenerative agriculture, and we can look at it with biodiversity. We see biodiversity in nature when there's lots of life, lots of different systems coming together and working together. Then it's sustainable, then it's a good system. And we need truthful information. That means we need to understand how nature works, and we need to do good science, independent science with no agenda, and that information needs to be available to the public, to everyone, so that we know how to heal ourselves, how to heal the planet, and how to actually co-create something beautiful and make sure that it is sustainable. So the truth must come out. We also then need safe and fertile environments, both online and in physical spaces, both in and out in nature. This is the places where we can also share the information, where all the available resources come together, and where the fourth element, care and love, the people, the actual people that have healed themselves and work from their hearts and actually give care and love to each other. So these four pillars are integral for a healthy society. And then we have to look at ways of working with the land. And permaculture is a wonderful design tool that any company, any organization, any system can take into their practice and learn from. We can, of course, work further on this and look at how we can improve it, of course. But the permaculture system has been a very good system that has spread all around the world. It's an amazing toolkit, a way of thinking. And it's based around, firstly, 3 principles, which is earth care, people care, and fair share. And there are 12 pillars around these principles, where we go first as one, we observe and interact. It means we go into nature, we observe nature, how it works, and we interact as harmoniously as possible. And we learn from the land. We learn how nature does things so that it is sustainable. Number 2, we catch and store energy in the most sustainable way we can. This means also for energy that we use electricity and heat and all the other resources, and also food and nourishment, that we obtain a yield as number 3. And this has to be done in a way that it can continue forever. Number 4 is apply self-regulation, accept feedback. That means accept feedback from the community, accept feedback from nature, and accept feedback from the system itself, and then readjust, re-regulate on the way, and then learn to be better and optimize. Number 5 is use and value renewable resources and services. It means that the food scraps that we have is food for the earth, is food for the animals. And what they excrete is food for the earth, for the soil. And then that circle of life continues, and we learn how those systems and that circle works. And then number 6, produce no waste. This is back to what I just said, is that we circulate everything, we recycle everything that we can. And if we are creating material like plastics that are not easily recycled in the earth, we have to create new systems that make sure that this is recreated into new materials, so that it's not thrown away. And then number 7, design from patterns to details. That means that we look at the big system, we look at the big picture first, and we try to learn how this dynamic organism works. And then we go into the details more and more and create finite systems that mimic the earth. And we look at number 8, we integrate rather than segregate. It means that everything that we can do in a local system, make sure that we have everything working in a local system with a small energy footprint, as small energy use as we can. And then number 9 is use small and slow solutions. I mean, we don't cut corners. We make sure that it's a local solution, that it solves the problem thinking long term. It's a slow solution, thinking long term. Number 10 is use and value diversity. It means that the more systems, the more life we have working together, the more sustainable it actually is, and the more abundance we have, the more rich earth we have, the more rich food and lots of different nourishing sources we have. And that's where life becomes beautiful. That's where it really becomes fun. That's where we see the beauty of nature and what a paradise garden we can actually create. So we're going to see communities in earth gardens and permaculture pop up everywhere, and it's going to be absolutely beautiful when we just wake up and see that the old systems that we as humans have created, the hierarchical systems, is not the way, that we leave them when we come into a circular economy, a circular way of thinking. We can create paradise on earth, and it's going to be absolutely beautiful. So number 11, use the edges and value the marginals. That means that we use everything on the land in a sustainable way. We make sure that everything works together, all the little edges also. So nothing is wasted, nothing is forgotten. Number 12 is creatively use and respond to change. It means that we come back once again to number 1, and we go all the way around. We continue this circle, and we continue learning and respond also to the changes that happen in nature and with the earth. We listen to that, and we honor the whole organism. So earth care, people care, and fair share with these principles are amazing principles that we need to use in almost all organizations, and all governments need to learn these principles. And of course, they are going to be improved upon. This is just a toolkit, a way of thinking. And we see this also with the sustainable goals that we have. Very good direction, very good way of thinking. And we need to now practice that. We need to all be embodied in that practice and do the work. And actually our actions, our everyday actions on the actions of each organization, short-term and long-term, needs to mimic the earth care, people care, and fair share, and work with nature, make it sustainable. And we have to then throw away the thinking of the ego that tries to get as much as possible for a little amount of work as possible. That's something that comes later. That's something that when we've built a good system, a sustaining permanent agriculture, permanent culture, when we've built this system and it is actually working very well, then you can relax. Then you can sit back and reap the benefits, reap the abundance. So this is the work that we have upon us, is to actually get to work and build this sustaining system. And it's actually not that much work. When everyone does a little bit, it's so much simpler. So when we look at biomimicry, we see that everyone in the group and every individual has a purpose. And the purpose we've already talked about is the health of our whole organism, the planet, and the health of the whole society. This is a good purpose. Of course, you can have different purposes, but this is one of the key elements that we need to honor as a whole society, to work and serve for the whole, for the entirety. That's where abundance comes from. So when everyone has a purpose and feels this purpose deeply in their heart, and feels that they have a role to play, a part to play, that they matter, that they actually have a purpose on this planet, because you do. And only you can find that in your heart. So you have to dig down deep into your heart and find, why am I here? What am I actually doing here? And of course, you can get that purpose from some organization or somebody else, but it has to resonate with your heart and be something sustainable for the entire planet. So when everyone has a purpose, this organism works very efficiently. And then we have autonomy. It's self-organizing. It's a self-organizing groups, because everybody knows what to do. And if you don't know what to do, you're going to figure out what to do, because you have the purpose and you have a good toolkit, and you're actually observing and learning on the way. That means you don't need centralized power anymore. You don't need centralized leadership. And that means that we don't trust an outside authority that tries to control. You have your inner authority, and you have the earth, life, as your teacher. And then we come to mastery. It means that we master ourselves, we master our own purpose, and we master the work we're doing. We're mastering to work as a co-creative circle, as a equal circle of beautiful beings who create something together, and where we create more than what we consume. Now, this is mastery. And then we create quality, and we have self-worth. We can, at the end of our life, sit back and think, wow, I did what I came here to do. I did my part. I did the best I could. Then that's the only thing we can ask of anyone. Do the best you can. And as you learn on the way, you become better at working with the earth, working with the entire organism, and creating a beautiful life. And adaptation is the key element of success. It means that we adapt on the way. And now we need to learn a lot of new, actually old ways of thinking and old ways of living with the land. And we're learning from the indigenous societies that have been doing this and working with the earth for thousands of years. So the Western society, the modern society, is now relearning what it actually means to live on this planet sustainably. And a bottom-up approach to solve issues. This means it comes from the grassroots. It means the ones that are working with the actual challenges, the ones that are actually finding the solutions and learning from nature, learning from the actual happenings. Those are the ones that need to distribute that information onwards into the whole circle. So it's not controlled from a top to bottom level. It's a circle where everyone is contributing, and we are all sharing the information and the knowledge and the resources. And that means ownership in our work, not ownership of a company, not ownership of the land. That doesn't really matter, because no one can own the earth. That's a system that we in our mind have created because we feared something. But ownership of our own work, ownership of our own actions, and ownership of our contribution to the group. So the group comes together and takes ownership of what we actually do, what we create. And then we transmit the information from each branch to the leaders, if there are any leaders. And when we come back to this, we see that the true leaders of the new age, the new time that we are in, are the ones that are acting as queen bees. They are the givers. It's decentralized. They do not take power. They do not take more than what they need. They give more. These are the true leaders that we're going to see. And these are the, also, we're going to see many more women come into leadership. The feminine energy is going to balance out the masculine energy so that we have a sustaining and balanced leadership. They are going to be the ones who care and give love and give knowledge and wisdom and actually take the right action for the entirety, for the health of the whole organism. And of course, we need a good dialogue until everyone agrees on shared purpose. We need good values, and we need a good vision and a good mission. So this is one idea. This presentation is an idea of what I have learned from nature, and we have to work further on these paths. We have to communicate more around this and find a common denominator, a common vision. And I believe we will. I believe that this is very close to what we, as a whole society, as a human species, are waking up to understand that we are one. We are part of this beautiful organism, and we must all do our part. One of the challenges that we find then is to keep a peaceful communication, because history is not always beautiful. Traumas, fears, all sorts of different things and baggage that we carry. And our work now is to collectively and personally heal so that we can work in a peaceful manner. So some of the key principles that we can do our best to work with is to understand that we are a family, and we're a tribe, and that it's a whole tribe. The whole planet is our tribe. We are one global citizen. And of course, we have smaller tribes as well, but we stop fighting amongst each other. We understand we are one family. What we do and what we share is the most important thing. And we can, of course, give them love and guidance and help them to heal, help them to find their way back to nature and back to certain values, good values that we honor. But that's all we can do, because we cannot force anybody else. And everybody has to be free. And a family, a true healthy family, knows that we support each other. We're there for each other, and we let each other be free. And then we work together, we co-create, so that everyone has resources, so that everyone has the abundance that we need to live. And this is where things become beautiful. And everyone has equal value. Everyone has equal. It doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter how you look like. You are a child of the earth. You are alive. So you have equal value. Now, what you do now and what you do for the future, that is what's important. How you give to the earth and how you give to others, that is what actually gives more value. So we have to stop with punishment. We have to stop with pointing fingers and saying like, hey, you're doing something I don't like. No. Take responsibility and hold space for those that are needing it. Hold space and give love to those that need healing. Don't punish. It's only going to make things worse. Put it someone who is suffering and either self-medicating if they're using drugs, or if they're stealing or doing something, they are probably lost touch with what is really important. They need healing. They need to come back to their hearts, and they need nourishment. They need love. So punishment is the last resort. Last resort. If all else fails, find better ways to do things. And number 4, no more reward. That's a big one. That means that we do not reward someone for doing something that we like. You can see this in sales systems, where we have rewarded people who sell more stuff, and we give them extra credit. We give them a more dominant position. This creates a divide. This creates competition. This creates someone to say, oh, I'm better than others. No. There's only natural giving. You give to the extent of your ability. You give what you can, and you do what you can for the entire organization, the entire organism. And when we do that, and if someone gives less, okay, that's what they can. That's okay. They're not punished or rewarded for that. The reward in itself is the giving. When I give, I get more, because we feel good when we give it. There's a natural system within us. There's a natural tendency and intuition. And you see this with children. They give without thought of getting back. They have the empathy. They already have the innate empathy. This is something we all are born with. We have forgotten because we went into the unnatural systems that taught us, no, this is the way it's supposed to be, and no. But in nature, if you look at nature, you see it's giving. It's all giving. And of course, it's receiving back. It has to, so it's sustaining, but it's giving more than it's taking. So we have to be honest about everything. We have to be honest with ourselves, and we have to be honest with each other to the best of our ability, to be transparent. Of course, we're not perfect. We're human beings. We have wounds, and we have fears, and we have all the different things that keeps us from opening up completely, because we've grown up in a system that we actually couldn't trust. But when we really connect with nature, we really can trust nature, we can trust ourselves, and we can trust each other. We can trust the entirety of the organism. And this is where we come back to the truthful knowledge, truthful wisdom that is shared, the know-how of how nature works, and the spaces where the people come together to heal. And when we have safe spaces, that's where we start to feel that we can be honest, that we are not judged for our differences. We're not judged for the different ways we express ourselves. We're not judged for our different needs. We can be honest, and then we can try to accommodate each other in the best way possible. We must try to listen first. Listen intently. Listen to the soul, to the heart of another being, and listen to the heart of nature. So a good practice is also to meditate. When we meditate, we silence our minds so that we can listen to nature. We can listen to our hearts. And when we have a lot of distractions and all of the different desires and needs that push in different directions, it's difficult to listen. So we need to practice mindfulness and meditate. There's many ways to meditate, and not just one. And the more we also connect with nature and with the plant medicines, the easier it is for us to listen, to connect deeper, because this is what we truly, truly want. I believe that this is what we truly want, is to connect deeper with our spirit, with the earth, with the truth. Listen deeply, connect with our own hearts, connect with each of the hearts that we meet. This is what we truly want. And one of the symptoms of not getting this connection is the consumer society, where we try to subdue this craving, this need that we actually have, so that we put patches on top and we create all of this hunger, because we actually lost connection with what was important. So when we come back to what is important, the actual sustaining of life and loving all that is, loving the life that is around us, and creating something beautiful, and feeling deeply the love in our hearts, the gratitude of this beautiful world, this beautiful universe we're in, this beautiful nature, beautiful beings we are. That's where meaning and purpose comes from. That's where the actual wanting to give, the wanting to give more comes from. So we start with our own health, and we start to listen deeply into ourselves. Then it's easier to listen to others also. And number 8 is to observe, and clarify. It means that we keep an open space and we try to understand what is going on, what is happening within me and within my environment, and to clarify what is actually needed, to not judge it before we actually go into the deeper understanding and show compassion and love and act on what is needed, the heart-based support. And this is not always easy, because it can be very challenging to face some of the fears and some of the hurts that we as human beings may carry. So to do our best when it comes up is all we can ask. And work with the healing medicines. There's so many different medicines. And I'm talking about the natural medicines and the love that we share, to make a beautiful and sustaining co-creation. And the more we heal from the old thinking, the old systems, because these are misconceptions, the hierarchical, centralized power systems, they are misconceptions created from the actual disconnect, from the forgetting our connection to nature. It's created from the fear, from the false evidence appearing real, from the misconception of the unknown. And I think any civilization, any being who goes through existence might go through similar challenges. And we are now in a remembering process. We remember why we're here, how we are here, what we are, life itself, and how far we have come. And we remember what's important. We remember the sustaining love of the planet and our connection to it. That the love and nourishment from Mother Earth comes through our hearts and sings through us. And that this life is meant to be beautiful, co-creative paradise. And it is now up to us to be part of that. Just open our eyes, open our hearts to see what is actually here. And then to respond with self-reflection, to learn more about ourselves so that we can be a better server, that we can serve the entire organism. And by doing that, we serve also ourselves. By serving the planet, serving all humanity to the best of our ability, life becomes so rich when we do that. Life becomes so beautiful when we're able to do that. So I wish for you, I hope for you that you have sustaining love and sustaining beauty and sustaining nourishment and co-creation and peace and abundance in your life. And we all have. This knowledge, this wisdom that I'm sharing here today, is a small piece of what you hold in your heart. The wisdom that you all have in your heart. You know this. You know already. And we're all waking up. Healthy leadership is the leaders that actually contribute, and how they actually contribute to the entirety of this planet will determine if they are dedicated to the whole organism. The best way we go forward is to all take responsibility. And the more we do that, the less we are in need of any leadership structure or leadership systems. Now, this presentation and the systems that I have shared with you today is a stepping stone. The accumulated knowledge that this person sharing has understood, and nature is even more efficient, even more loving, even more self-organizing than what I've tried to perceive here. So I trust that you find the way. I trust that we together find the way to create paradise on earth. I'm going to go through the characteristics of a holistically healthy society very quickly. And it's number one, all necessary resources are easily available for everyone, especially clean, pure food. The fundamental human needs are met for everyone. All food and products are clean, safe, and natural, organic, and preferably local, if possible. All industry and production is sustainable and natural. All the materials are sustainable and natural, and there's a recycling. The cities are filled with food, landscapes, and vegetation. Optimal health is achievable for all. You must have free will. All the resources and the help is available, and you have free will to go about your own journey and go about your own conclusions of what your health needs, what your body needs. There's available knowledge, there's available wisdom, and there's available nourishment. But you're free to choose what you want. The majority of the people have balanced body, mind, and spirit. They keep a steady and safe environment and a steady space. And they have clear thinking. They can see what is true, what is valuable, what is important, and they're able to discern when lies or systems that are not contributing are trying to dominate and saying, no, we are all one and we are all working together and we are taking care of each other. And we know how to do that. We know how to sustain life. And we reject the false systems. We reject the false deities, if you will. We reject the false masters, if you will. The master is you. The master is nature. And we are balanced in that, and knowing that we all have the knowledge in our hearts. No system, no people, no lies can mess with that. And this we are awakening to. It's a pretty rough process to awaken in the system that we have created up until now. But we are awakening, and it is a necessary process. It's not necessarily a very beautiful process, but we are finding our way to our hearts and what is actually important. Number 8 is a healthy and balanced growth of economy and sharing. Now, economy is just energy. It's sharing of energy. So that energy has to flow through the entire organism and be equally distributed and shared with each other. So money and all types of systems like that have no value. The value is what you share. The value is what you create. The value is what comes from the earth and that we help flourish and share with each other and give back. That's the value, not numbers on the screen. So we will create a circular economy and sharing system. And I see it everywhere popping up. Beautiful systems. And I love the ingenuity of humanity. When we really have to, we take action and do the right thing. Number 9, nature and technology develops in harmony. Means that nature leads the way. We learn from nature how to make it sustainable and make sure that all the materials are sustainable and recyclable, and that the technology supports the actual web of life, the connection, and that there's a free flow of good knowledge, that there's a free flow of freedom. Number 10 is a sustained harmony between people, animals, and nature. And of course, it's not expected that everyone is supposed to go vegan overnight or do all sorts of things, but that we try our best to honor all the parts in our life. When we eat, if we eat an animal, that animal hopefully had a beautiful, free life, eating organic, pure, natural plants, and was happy. And the same with the plants that we eat. Hopefully they were pure, nourishing, that we gave back to the earth. And I'm saying this again and again because it's so important. And it needs to be sustainable. We must be able to continue doing it forever. And we're learning on the way. We're not perfect right away. We're learning on the way. So little by little. And then we can sustain the harmony between each other as well. Because when we look at a circular way of thinking, where Earth is in the middle, and the vision for the good of all is in the middle, then we can find harmony. Then we can start to co-create. Then it's much easier to live a balanced life. Number 11, the soil, the earth, the water, and the air is clean and sacred. This means also when water comes through our lands, everyone who owns a plot of land or a company that works with water in any way, make sure that the water coming into their land is cleaned or clean already, and going out of their land is cleaned and clean all the way. That means not necessarily clinically clean, but naturally pure with minerals and the natural elements. That it is life-giving. Number 12, the people gather around the sacred fire, guided by its wisdom. That needs that we connect again with the fire and we understand how much this fire gives to us. It sustains us in so many ways and gives us warmth and gives us connection and gives us so many tools that we use today. And we remember this sacred element and connect with it in one way or another. There's so much wisdom in the fire. Number 13, the family, all families, are sacred and protected by support groups, communities. That means self-sustaining communities, permaculture communities, all types of communities that protect the family, protect all children, all women, and all men for that matter. Make sure that it's a safe environment and that we honor the next generations. Number 14, balanced respect between the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine. This is very important. And we have a lot of healing to do here. It means we are all equal. Equal pay, equal distribution of resources, equal rights. That does not mean that we have to do the same things. That does not mean that we have to try to be alike, but that we honor the value of everyone. We honor the value. So this goes beyond masculine and feminine. This goes also to all races. Number 15, co-creation fosters creative expression and love. It means that we are free to creatively express ourselves and love in every way that we want to, and that we respect each other, that we co-create together. A healthy personal growth and spiritual self-realization. It means that we grow in our own being with the whole, so that we don't separate ourselves in a way that's unsustainable. Of course, we can go through any process that we need to become more whole, but that we have a space, a safe space where we can grow personally in a healthy way and realize ourselves as the beings that we are and share that, be open and free, and to find love for ourselves. Number 17, honesty and integrity are strong values that guides the people. And this is something that we learn on the way. We become better and better at being honest. And integrity is also to be in alignment with ourselves, our own truth, and to speak our own truth, and to live by that truth, to live in a way that we honor ourselves and each other, and we honor the earth, we honor the values and principles that keeps life sustaining, and we honor this nourishing, beautiful circle of life. Number 18, fundamental human rights are sustained by all groups, all communities, all organizations, all governmental systems. I do not actually believe we will have any governmental systems in the future. I believe we will be self-sustaining, self-organizing. I believe we will be self-organizing, self-sustaining communities, free and abundant, and a web of life working together to keep everything sustainable. So this might sound like utopia to many, because we grew up in a system that is unsustainable. We grew up in a system that has taught us that it was not possible, that we had to fight each other and compete and do all sorts of things to create a life for ourselves. It's actually not a utopia. This is natural. This is the way things truly are in nature, the way I observe it. All of these characteristics come naturally with high intelligence. When we balance our body, mind, and spirit, we come in connection with that intelligence. We come in connection with our heart, and we come in connection with the earth. And we are on our way towards this faster than we think. It's a great, 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 great transformation happening on the earth right now. And I do believe you also see this happening. It can be challenging and it can be confusing at times, but we are going through a transformation, a metamorphosis, where the old systems are dying and the new systems are being born. And hopefully this presentation will help you to find your way. And of course, you know in your heart what is right. So I want to thank you for listening to this presentation today. And I want to thank you for all the wonderful work you are doing in your life, all the healing you are doing. And I want to thank you for the beautiful being that you are. And I want to thank you for co-creating with all of us a beautiful, harmonious, wonderful paradise. Aho.